Belarus was known for his excessive cruelty. Among his alleged atrocities is cannibalism. It was said that he ate infants. Another manifestation of his sadistic cruelty is that he allegedly ordered a sculptor named Perle to make a copper hollow bowl for him. The bowl could hold a man and was used as an instrument of execution. The condemned man was placed inside, then the bowl was closed, and a bonfire was lit under it. The sculpture was made in such a way that when the convicts suffered a terrible death in a burning furnace, their screams were said to sound like the roar of a bull. Belarus was entrusted with the construction of the Temple of Caesar Tiberius in the citadel, and he took advantage of his position to become a despot. Under him, Agrigent is seen to have achieved considerable prosperity. He provided the city with water, decorated it with beautiful buildings and fortified it with walls. On the northern coast of the island, the inhabitants of Chemre elected him a military commander, giving him absolute power, despite the warnings of the poet Stesichorus. According to the court, he managed to become the master of the entire island. He was eventually overthrown in a general uprising led by Telemetris, the ancestor of their Navicurigus tyrant of about 488 to 472 years before our era, and burned in his own copper bowl. Gaius Caligula, the successor of the equally cruel Emperor Tiberius, was renowned as one of the most ruthless Roman emperors. Caligula was a unique embodiment of unparalleled cruelty. From an early age, he took great delight in witnessing the torture and execution of those deemed guilty. Upon ascending to the imperial throne, Caligula unleashed his monstrous inclinations on a grand scale. He himself branded people's flesh with a searing iron, personally hurling the accused into cages with ravenous beasts, disemboweling them and spilling their innards. According to the account of the Roman historian Gaius Suetonius Tranquillus, Emperor Caligula compelled fathers to witness the execution of their sons. For one of these, he dispatched servants with a stretcher when the son disobeyed the ruler, citing illness. The other son, immediately after the execution, was summoned to the table and forced to engage in various amusing banter and revelry. The emperor ordered the overseer of the gladiatorial contests to be beaten with chains in front of his eyes for several days in a row, and he was killed only when the emperor deemed his rotting brain to be unbearable. The writer of poetic lines was set on fire in the center of the amphitheater for lines with an ambiguous joke. A Roman horseman, thrown into the arena among low predators, did not cease to proclaim his innocence. He was taken back, his tongue was cut out, and he was driven back into the arena. Emperor Caligula, with his own hands, used a dull saw to cut people in half, personally gouged out their eyes, and removed women's breasts and men's penises. He instructed his executioners to strike with a stick, not too hard, but often and with great force. Caligula insisted that his infamous order be followed. Strike so that he feels he is dying. Those who were executed were often hanged by their genitals. It all ended with Caligula being killed by sent horsemen after a performance he attended. Caligula went to breakfast. On his way to the dining room, he was met by caring people who sharply announced to him that he was wrong and had to die. Timur, also known as Tamerlan, was a Turkic Mongol conqueror who founded the Timurid Empire on the territory of modern Afghanistan, Iran and Central Asia, and became the first ruler of the Timurid dynasty. An invincible commander, he is considered one of the greatest military leaders and strategists in history, as well as one of the most brutal and deadly. In modern Afghanistan, Timur ordered to build a tower of living men and fasten them together with mortar. Timur died of unknown causes, possibly from pneumonia or from a large amount of ethanol with which he was treated for pneumonia. Modern sources present contradictory information about Ivan's complex personality. He was described as intelligent and devout, but also prone to paranoia, anger, and occasional bouts of mental instability that worsened with age. Historians generally believe that in a fit of anger, he killed his eldest son and heir, Ivan Ivanovich. Perhaps he also caused his wife to miscarry. As a result, his youngest son, the politically weak wolf Fyodor Ivanovich, inherited the throne. His reign and subsequent childless death led to the end of the Rurik dynasty and the beginning of the Time of Troubles. Mary was the only child of King Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. Mary became Queen of England in 1553. She began the restoration of Catholicism as the main religion and married Philippa from Spain, who was a Catholic. During the several years of her reign, Many people who disagreed with her regime were burned at the stake, which is why she received the nickname Bloody Mary.